This is Hyunl-Chul Jung, doctoral student in Department of Management Engineering in Sangye University. I will present with the subject of prioritizing cloud service threat for succession to information security management system. This is my project agenda. Background, motivation, purpose, overview, resource review, methodology, case study, discussion, and conclusion. Let's get started. We are living in the era of the fourth industrial revolution. The cloud computing industry is growing from the fourth industrial revolution to the core that enable convergence between industries. However, as the cloud computing industry grows, security issues of cloud computing service are also continuously raised. It is evolving into a new type of attack technology that is difficult to respond by exploiting the weakness of cloud computing. Accordingly, cloud service providers need to overcome the potential threat of emerging cloud computing and provide stable service. About the background of this study, how can cloud service providers overcome the potential threat of emerging cloud computing and provide reliable services? The potential threats are new, therefore, it is difficult to cope with the management system that cloud service providers already operate. In other words, it is necessary to present a framework that can collect the newly created threat of cloud computing and measure the priority that can act as a real risk in service management task and relationship. Therefore, in this study, we present a framework to measure a priority that can act as a real risk in cloud service management task and relationships by collecting the newly created threat of cloud computing and try to verify the results through case study. In the study, the framework to be presented consists of the following procedure. First, collect potential threat in the cloud computing environment. Then, classification of threat collected. And cloud computing service management job definition. The next, cloud computing service management job importance evaluation. Then, evaluate the impact of collected threats according to importance of cloud computing service management. Then the last, priority against threat. In the 2019 report released by CSA, top threat to cloud computing includes 11. This report emphasizing the necessity of preparing for threat in new cloud environment rather than serious threat in cloud computing environment and threat from existing vulnerabilities. In 2013 study on cloud computing security vulnerabilities suggested how to classify and respond to vulnerability in classification models for analysis and management of threat of cloud computing, and define management models through experiment and case study. In the 2012 study, Information Security Management System for Cloud Computing Service, the potential threat of cloud computing services were defined into origin and elevated and classified into large, medium, and small classes to define the control area for cloud service security management. And in the Cloud Security Guide announced by EQST group of SK InfoSec, who is a famous security company, they defined to include potential threat, importance, response versions, and timing of application recommendation in cloud computing environment using containers. The cloud service can take various forms through convergence with service model provided by the service and other service. And the job is varied accordingly. Previous study have a focus on what threat and vulnerability exist and how to prepare for them. However, in this study, we will what threat can pose a real danger to cloud service providers, and what are the priorities of the threat to be proactively prepared for. This chapter describes the methodology of this study. The procedure on the left-hand side was introduced in overview. The potential vulnerability in cloud environment are collected through the latest report, papers, etc. And the called external data collection. And collecting through internal audit tool of cloud environment or event action or event history, etc., is called internal data collection. The collected threads were classified into trend factor and attribution factor, and the intersection of a trend and attribution factor was classified as common factor. Each trend, attribution, and common factor are subdivided into external, internal, and environment factor, depending on where threats are. Threats act on cloud service management and operation. External factors include invasion or attack from outside, and defects are example of environment factor. And example of internal factor are insider intention, negligence, abuse, etc. Job definition is literal. It is to define the provider's job to provide cloud service. Job importance refers to importance for providers to stably provide cloud service. The job importance calculation is performed when the defined job is stopped, the degree of damage that is imparted by service provider, and the degree of urgency that the job should be restored urgently. The evaluation is a step to quantify how much of collected potential threat can affect cloud services job, provider's job. The calculate with this formula. According to the calculation result of evaluation, the priority of potential threat is related to order of highest score. So, to prove the framework, we will do a case study like this. Case study was conducted with the environment of IaaS provider. The following data were collected for external and internal data. Classification based on the method defined by framework file referred to the collected thread. IaaS provide service management job are defined as the following five. The defined as suggested in the framework is summed up by measures of financial, non-financial, and recovery urgency due to suspension, and then job score and job value grade is obtained. Then multiply the value of job score and job value grade to get a value score of job. When job importance is determined, the collective threads are assigned to the job and evaluated. Priority. The order of threads with the highest evaluation score is listed in order of priority. The table lists only the top priorities. In this study, we suppose a framework that collected the potential threat in the cloud computing environment and lied the priority of the threat that needed to be proactive in response to related service management tasks. The result of the case study conducted to verify the suggested framework are interesting. The fact that the classification of threads ranked in the first priority are common factors. Those are the intersection of the external and internal threads. In general, threads are easy to be mistaken for influence of external influence on the internal environment, but it can be seen that environment factor and internal factor are included in addition to external factors. Finally, it is confirmed that system management job of the IaaS providers is most affected by potential threat of cloud computing, and impact is related to continuity management of service and operation. Conclusion. With the growth of the cloud industry, new risks are emerging that threaten the cloud service environment. Cloud service providers need to identify these threats and prepare for them proactively in order to provide stable service. Therefore, this study presented a framework for cloud service providers to collect and classify threats that cloud pose potential risk to service environment, and to prioritize threats that should be preemptively prepared through variation with risk to deliver cloud service and to carry out validation through case study. The cloud service provider subjectively can be reflected in the threat collection, classification, and risk assessment. In order to identify and proactively prepare for the identified threat and evaluate priority, the cloud service provider must have internal risk management, regulation, and decision-making procedure. But priority derived through the framework of this study should be able to continuously managed by successing to an information security management system with the life cycle, plan, do, check, and act. Furthermore, research and development of cloud security management methodology that can stably operate cloud service from constantly occurring cloud threat is required. I will finish my presentation. Thank you for listening.